Yeah. All right, guys, thank you for coming. The food will be here eventually. I don't know where it is right now. But let's thank Wes for stopping in, and he's going to talk about working in the Philadelphia area, what it's like, how to do it, how to get a job, and how to be successful. So thank you very much.
Well, I just want to say it wasn't too long ago that I was sitting in the same seats as all of you guys, and it was kind of a daunting task with how bad the economy is and how troubling the news is about getting a job. I'm here to tell you it's not as bad as it actually seems. If you basically do the 4 things on this board, you can have your dream job. Now, it may not be working at the biggest firm in the country, but you will be able to put money in your pocket, food on your table, and be able to actually practice law. The first thing I would suggest is when you get out of school, because not everybody is in the top 10% of the class, not everybody gets A's, is that what law gives you is a unique opportunity to be able to start your own business, basically hang your own shingle. So when you hang your own shingle, you go into business for yourself. And doing it is a lot cheaper than you would actually think at first blush. So, as you can see in your paper, I've given you a list of resources so that if you did want to do this, you'd be able to easily go get them. Basically, the 2 most important things to starting your own business would be you would have to file an LLC application, which is basically filling out a page of paperwork, not very difficult. The second thing is you would have to pay $300 to the city of Philadelphia for the privilege of doing business here. Outside of that, you can work from home and make a lot of money. You can work from anywhere. I work from home. Sometimes when I go to the beach, I work from the beach. I work from everywhere because thankfully there are computers and it makes life easy. Now, the second part, the more important part, is court appointments. Now, this is something that was not explained to me in law school, but this is a great way to get practical experience and make money. What people don't, as a law student, I thought I would go work for a firm. I'd be at this big firm in the city. They would throw me my cases. I realized that's not how it was going to be. Now with court appointments, this is a great chance that if you're trying to build your business, if you're hanging your shingle out there, that you can start getting experience to generate clients. Because the biggest hurdle you're going to face going out there is that nobody's going to want to hire you because you have no experience. Nobody's going to want a lawyer who hasn't done a case yet. It's just not something you would want. You wouldn't want to be up for a murder trial and have some guy saying, oh, this is my first case. How do I do this? How do I file this motion? So what happens is if you go into the court appointment system, you get paid by the court to do cases and to learn about how to do this stuff on basically your time, but it's not as complicated as other matters would be. So for example, I got appointed to be a Philadelphia conflict attorney. Now what a conflict attorney means is everybody here understands the professional rules of ethics and that you can't represent co-defendants, you can't have conflicts of interest. Now what happens is that just doesn't apply to me as a solo practitioner or to you, sir, if you work at Deckard where I work now. It doesn't matter. Even the public defender and the district attorney's office have to follow the same ethical rules. So what happens is, picture this. It's Philadelphia, North Philly, as we all know. 2 people commit a crime together, and they're both indigent. They get arrested. The public defender can't represent both people. It'd be unethical. So what happens is, that other person is sent to a private attorney that the public defender in the court paid for. Ergo, that's me. What happens is when you put your name on this list, it's a wheel, and you don't know how often it's going to come up, how often you're going to get called, but you do get called frequently. For instance, in the last 2 months, I've picked up 2 cases. They're misdemeanor cases, but I was able to pick them up, and I'm able to build a book of experience. By the way, the pizza's at the back, if anybody wants a slice. But I was able to get the experience. Now, what you can do is you can translate this experience into actually learning how to do a case. You work with other people. It's one of the best things to do. And this isn't just limited to Philadelphia. Anywhere you live, if you live in Michigan, if you live in California, wherever you live, you can do this. You go to the county courthouse, and you ask to get appointed to conflict counseling. As you can see under part 2 of the papers I handed out, it gives you a detailed process of basically how to do it and what numbers to call. You call them, they put you on a list. All you have to do is basically give your bar ID number, which you'll get the minute you pass the bar, which you guys don't have to worry, it's not as hard as you think it is. It's difficult, but you will be able to pass the bar. Temple will get you ready for it. Now, with this just doesn't apply to the state system. You can do this for federal court, you can do this for immigration court. Any basic practice area that you want to be in, you can use court appointments to do that for. It's a real money winner, and at the end of the day, when you're running a business, it's not the big picture ideas that win it. It's not the big picture ideas that keep it going. It's having money in the till every day. It's having casework. It's knowing where your next client's coming from. And court appointments gives you an excellent opportunity to have that next client come in. Now, by their nature, court appointments are random. You don't always know when you're going to get them. You're on a wheel. They can come in all at once. They can come in slowly. But don't worry. In the meantime, you need to still make cash. Everybody needs to pay their rent, student loans, which about 2 weeks after you graduate, you're going to start getting the letters. You can do something called document review. That will supplement your income. Basically what document review is it gives you a chance to participate in the discovery aspect of large cases. So for instance, right now I'm working on a large multi-billion-dollar merger. What I do is I help look at the discovery materials. So when the government requests the company I'm working for to produce certain materials, I have to go through these materials along with hundreds of other people and go, oh, is this information we should be giving over? We shouldn't be giving the government people's social security numbers, their bank cards, other things. Is this material the government is actually asking for? Isn't it? Document review is one of the best ways to do it. It's how a substantial number of people actually end up making money and supporting themselves. I work in an office of, I'd say, about 200 people or so, and I'd say about 80, 90 of them are Temple Law graduates. And out of that, I probably know about 30 of them from being just in class with them, from seeing them around. It really is a great thing. It's not, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not the most exciting thing you're ever going to do in your life, but when you're trying to build your business, it gives you a steady supply of cash. It lets you get exposed to some of the larger firms in the area. I've worked, for instance, for Morgan Lewis, which is one of the biggest firms in Philadelphia. I work for Decker right now. That's a very large firm. And it allows you to just learn the process. And it's really casual and laid back. So for instance, that gentleman right there with the blue shirt on and the Angels hat, that's how a lot of people get to come to work. And they still get paid decent money to be a lawyer. So that outfit works in the doc review world. It's one of the best reasons why people like to go into it. It's built around your schedule. If you want to come in at 10 o'clock and leave at 6, then you can do that. If you're an early riser, which I'm not, but there are people at my work who come in at 6:30 in the morning and they leave at 7 at night. It's all built around you. You want to take the weekend off, you want to go swimming, you want to go to the beach, you can do that, but you can still make a lot of money doing it. And it's something you should all consider. Now, on this list here, these are all the major document review companies under Section 3. These are all the major document review companies in the area. What you do is, once you graduate law school, update your resume, start contacting these people. Then after you do that, you can work as a JD who who did not pass the bar yet. They have work for just JDs. And then once you pass the bar, they're going to be helping you find jobs where you need a bar license. They're great because basically, I'm sure you guys all use Simplicity, the job search engine for Temple. What I do is when I need a job, I literally get done a project, I take a week off, veg out on the couch, watch a little Lori, whose baby is it? You never know. But I like to do that, and then when I'm like, all right, I need to get back to work, I had enough downtime, I just email every one of these people on this list with my resume, and in the next, I'd say 7 to 10 days, I had about 2 or 3 different job offers coming through. Now, with DocReview, you're probably going to get paid in the range of anywhere from $28 to $40 an hour, and you're usually typically going to work anywhere between 40 and 60 hours a week. So you guys can do the math on that, but it winds up to being a lot of money. The projects sometimes can go from anywhere from a week to 2 months to 2 years. So for example, the project I'm working on now, I was told it would be 1 month. I'm already in my 2nd month, and it's going to be going past Christmas. So sometimes you get a little bonus, and you can get health insurance and benefits and all kinds of other things, paid time off through these agencies. Now, the last thing I have to talk about is building a network. This is actually really easy. Listen, I'd be surprised if anybody in here didn't have a Facebook account. I mean, not everybody has Twitter, but everybody should have a LinkedIn account. It's pretty much the way professionals like to talk, even though we're all on Facebook. Don't ask me, but that's just how they like to do it. But Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're great ways. All the people sitting around you, all these people that you talk to every day, they're your network. That's where you start. You start with the basics. All these people, you're going to be working with them. You guys might be all staffed on the same project. It's a good way of knowing. It's a good way of knowing a base of people going into a job. Then you're going to meet more people at your job. Get their Facebook. Talk to them. It's a great way of just knowing those people that you work with. Then you also have to remember there's bar associations. Now, I'm not going to disparage any bar association in particular, but bar associations tend to cost a lot of money, and they tend to not always give you all the benefits that you think they would. The Philadelphia Bar Association is probably the best bar association you can join. If you're running your own business, they give you free legal research, because I know you guys right now use LexisNexis and Westlaw, and you're like, oh, this is great, I love the electronic research, glad I'm done LRW, I can do this now. The only problem is that costs about $300 a month, and that's a lot of cash to be putting out. If you join the Philadelphia Bar Association for $55 a year, you have your own search engine that you can use. It's called Fastcase. It's very similar to LexisNexis, but it's free and it's very good for you. Also, with joining the Bar Association, they have events that you can go to. They had a huge conference in Atlantic City recently. And the thing is, besides getting to go to Atlantic City and take a few days off, which is always nice, you get the chance to rub elbows with judges, the district attorney, other private practitioners. You get a chance to start building connections and to making money. Because when you're running a small firm, one of the best ways to make money is to have agreements with other lawyers to share business. That if somebody came to me, I'm mostly a criminal lawyer, I do a little personal injury, but if somebody came to me with a bankruptcy case, I can't take that. I'm not qualified to take a bankruptcy case. I send it over to somebody else. I get a percentage of that. I didn't do any work. I pick up the phone, hit something on my Facebook account, went right over, and I got some cash for it. Same thing with them. If they get a criminal case, and they're like, I only do immigration law. They get a little bit of a cut for that, for me doing mostly the criminal work, and I have business coming in. It's an easy way that you can use all your friends around you to make money and to help them make money. It's one of the best winners you can do out there. That's why people try so hard to build networks. Because who wouldn't love to be sitting on the beach in Dewey or Miami or wherever, enjoying their time, picking up a phone saying, hey you, in a red hat, hey, I got a client coming in, I know you do patent law, I don't. You know, how would you like this guy? Ends up being a good case for you. You know, you take 10, 15, even 25% of the value of the case out of there. Some of these cases, depending on your practice area, could be worth millions of dollars. Patent infringement case, for example, a lot of those cases don't start at anything below $5 million. So you'd be taking a few percentage points of that just to pick up the phone and say, hey, Red Hat, I got some business for you. It's a great thing to do. And the last thing I'd have to tell you guys is join alumni associations. They're free, and alumni love alumni. It's the easiest thing in the world. Pretty much, people do business with people who have 3 characteristics. People they like, people they trust, and the people that are similar to them. By you being alumni, I don't know anybody in this room, I don't know you at all, but if I saw you at an alumni function, I'd be a lot more likely to give you business and try to help you out and to try to do something for you, just because me and you had the same common experience going to law school. I know nothing about your life, but I want to help you out for that reason. And that's what a lot of people are going to do. And you'll have a lot of practitioners who are going to want to give you help, who are going to want to basically do whatever they can to make your life a little bit easier. And that's the best thing to do with that. Because the Temple, especially in Philadelphia, Temple alumni, they run the state. They run the city. There's millions of them all over the state. South Jersey, Delaware. There's a lot of us around. And it makes it easier too, because if you know people through the alumni associations, that's how you find out about jobs. That's how you find out about people leaving. That's how you find out what's going on in the legal world. Because not everybody advertises every job that comes open. But if they're like, oh, hey, you're an alumni. Oh, you went to Temple? They're going to want to hire you. Perfect example. When I was in 1L, I just got finished LRW, didn't have the greatest semesters, hated constitutional law, couldn't figure out footnote 12 or whatever it is, and couldn't do any of that. But I had okay grades. I'm like, you know, I'm just going to try. I'm going to try applying to some, you know, federal judges to be an intern, whatever. So I ended up meeting a judge, and this is in Delaware, and he was one of the best judges around that I've ever met. Just a sweet, nice guy. So I walk into his office, and I had this interview, you know, I'm all suited up, all nervous, like, oh my God, this is a federal judge. I mean, look at this big federal courthouse. Like, what's going to happen? I walk in, and he goes, oh, nice tie, I like it. Any particular reason you're wearing that tie? Not this tie, different one. And I'm like, well, I went to UD, University of Delaware, and I always wear my UD colored ties because it brings me good luck. The first words out of his mouth were, me too. Why don't you take off your jacket, sit down, and let's talk. I'm talking to him for a judge to take time out of his day. And I'm talking, I spent an hour talking to him, not about my resume, not about anything. 15 minutes in, the judge offers me the internship. This is a very competitive internship for a federal judge. He offers it to me in 15 minutes because I wore a UD tie. And then I start looking around his office. It's Raleigh Stadium. It's everything you did in there. He has UD banners. And the only reason I have that is because I wore a UD tie in that day, and I was able to use an alumni connection. And it happens every day, all the time. That doesn't mean, don't just use Temple. Use your undergraduate. Use even your high school connections where you're going. That is hands down the best way to really strongly build a network. So that's about all I had to say, because as a true lawyer, I do live on the billable hour, and I don't feel like, I never liked in law school how the professors would drone on and on and on, and I was like, all right, can we get to the point? Can I ask some questions? So I'm opening the floor up to you guys. Anything you guys want to ask, anything you want to know, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you maintain an office space or work from home? What do you, as far as trying to keep your costs down, things like that?
That is an excellent question, and I'm sorry to not touch on that earlier. What I do right now is, because I'm not seeing clients that aren't court appointed, I work from home. But besides working from home, I'm in the process now of renting shared office space with another attorney, which basically means is an attorney got his place, he's like, it's too big. Or attorney got a place, he has a secretary, he's like, I have an extra room. I go into there, I rent out the conference table, because that's basically all you need. It's a conference table, and if you want somebody to pick up the phone 24 hours a day. It's about all you need to run it. And that would cost you about $75 a month, versus having to rent out a space, which is basically going to be equivalent to whatever your rent is, because it's going to be the same idea of space, and then to have to meet that bill every month. You can run it from your home. Because most of the time when you're drafting motions, or when you're writing, I guess you guys write memos and briefs in here, you're writing it on your couch, you're writing it at your table, you're writing it at your space. I like my cats to jump on my lap when I'm writing it, and I like to be relaxed, and that's why I mostly work from home. The other benefit is, if you work from home and use that as your primary address, that is a major, major tax benefit for you. That's another reason I work from home doing that. And not only is it a tax benefit, in the city of Philadelphia, I didn't feel like putting on like 20 pages worth of like citations. But in the city of Philadelphia, if you're an attorney, you don't need a special license to do that. Attorneys, accountants, dentists, and doctors have an exemption where they can run their business from their home. So that ends up working out really well for us. One of the benefits of being in practice.
So you kind of touched a little bit on what you really enjoy about being a solo practitioner. What are the things you don't like?
What don't I like about being a solo practitioner? Well, it can be tough sometimes because what you'll learn is even if you work at a firm like a huge firm like Ballard Spahr, Blank Roan is, at the end of the day you're kind of your own. You're kind of on your own. You're kind of yourself. And there's nobody really like, you can't go ask the professor like, what's the right answer here? Like, how can I like solve this problem? It's not that easy. You have to sit there and you have to figure it out. And you have to also remember, it's harder when you're not doing it in theory, when people's lives are on the line. When I'm talking to my client, he's like, man, I could be doing a year, I could be doing 2 years behind this drug case. I mean, I got a family to think about. I mean, then that's the harder part for you. And then you're the only person he's talking to, and you don't always have the opportunity to just go to somebody else and say, what's the right answer? Just help me out with this. Like that's probably the hardest part, I'd have to say. But that's just a problem that goes across the board. If you work at a bigger firm, you can tend to ask other people, but you don't want to bog down the partners and other higher ups with your problems constantly because they don't like that. They're all poorly on you. But that's probably the hardest part, I'd say, of private practice, like being a solo. But the best part also is that you can tailor your schedule to yourself. You like getting up at 11 a.m.? Get up at 11 a.m. You can make it work. It's very, very flexible. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Do you find yourself having to work a lot as, well, collecting bills for people that owe you money?
That is actually a great question. Now, that is why you go to number 2, court appointments. Because when you do a court appointment, I'm not saying, hey, I want my bill right now. The court pays you. So if you do it, the court has money set aside. They mandatorily must pay you. So that means if I win, I get paid. If I lose, I get paid. And I don't have to worry about it. So I have the money coming in that way. Now, what area of practice are you looking to go into?
I'm a 1L. I more know about what kinds of law I don't want to practice at this point.
Okay.
But I don't really want to limit myself. I'm interested in criminal mostly right now.
Okay, that's word of advice. If you're not doing court appointments, get the money first. Do not step into court. Do not direct a motion. Don't even breathe until you get that cash. Because they will not pay you afterwards. After you do one lick of work for them, you will not get paid. Always get the money up front. And just so you know, you can't charge contingent fees for criminal cases. Being a 1L, I don't know if you would know that, but
in the sense that you couldn't.
Yeah, it's unethical. But yeah, always make sure you get the money up front. Now, if you're doing contingent fee cases, like your personal injury lawyer, it's call up right now. Everybody's seen the commercials. Call up right now. This is a lawyer. We'll help you out. We'll get you a settlement. You don't get paid unless we get paid. Make sure with that you carefully draft those contracts. Go to the Bar Institute. Go to the Bar Association. Get a book. Read it exactly how to draft those kind of contingent fee arrangements and draft them very technically. Because if you are not tight with the language, you could lose a lot of money behind it. Because how they divide up the pie, how you write the contract determines how they divide the pie. Sometimes they take out expenses and then give you a cut. Sometimes you can just take a cut off the top and then your expenses. So it could be a very, very big variable, and it could be a mistake that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars that you don't want to make. All right, anybody else? Go ahead.
So, do these bigger firms, if they have a big document review project,
Yeah.
they will contact one of these agencies to do the document review for them, or?
Well, okay, how it actually works is these agencies are all competitors with each other. So the thing about it is they're like trying to submit a bid. And the company's it's like a government bid. Like everybody wants to build a new space shuttle. So what's the government going to do? They're going to take 20 bids and they're going to take the cheapest person who does it. So what'll happen is, for instance, Deckard will say, we're working on a major antitrust merger case. What I'm working on now. We need approximately 200 lawyers for approximately 2 months. How much is that going to cost? And they'll submit something. It's called a request for proposals. They'll submit it to all the major staffing agencies in the area. Then what the staffing agencies will do is they'll turn around and say, I can staff it for X amount of money, which would come out to $27 an hour per person. Another person will say, I can staff it at $35 an hour per person. Then the law firm will make their decision based on what the cost comes in at. Then what will happen is, that's why you can sign up with all these agencies, because as soon as whatever law firm gets the contract, whatever staffing agency gets the contract, it doesn't really matter, because you're going to be working with all of them. They will send you notice like, hey, does anybody speak Spanish in here? We need a Spanish document review project. Does anybody have any prior science or drug experience? We're working on Nexium, or whatever it may be. So they will contact you, and then you will contact them back saying, yes, I meet the qualifications. Yes, I can work that time. That's basically how it works. The only thing is, you just have to be really careful, because you guys might think making $25 an hour, $27 an hour sounds great right now, especially since you're in school and bills are piling up. You really shouldn't settle for anything less than 30, 29 if it's really bad. But if you're working those hours, you're basically getting ripped off for anything less than $30 an hour, because of how your time, the amount of effort and everything else you put into it. So pretty much for document reviewers, we try to set the line at 30. If you get anything above 30, congrats. And just so you know, even though most places should do it, you, for the most part, will not get paid overtime. You'll work overtime hours, but you'll get a flat rate. It's just one of those things that nobody likes, but it's accepted in the industry. Now, if you do find a project that pays overtime, jump on it, because that is one of the best. That is one of the best ways to do it, because instead of getting paid $30 an hour or $32 an hour, you go to 45 to 48. If you're working a 60-hour project, those 20 hours after 40 are where the real money's made, not the first 40. So, go ahead.
How many cases do you get, or how many cases on average do you have in a month or a year? You know, what's your kind of caseload like?
Well, I actually only passed the bar back in May. So I've been basically in the process of starting up my business and doing this. But since I put myself on the court appointment list, I've gotten 2 cases in the last 2 months. I've also been doing a lot of document review work, because a business, the money just doesn't rain down from the sky. You got to find a way to infuse your business with cash. Working a document review gives me enough cash that I can do stuff I want to do for my business. But once I get a court appointed to more counties and I finish, because I still have to take the bar too. Just because I'm barred in Pennsylvania doesn't mean I don't want to be barred in New Jersey, Delaware, a few other places. So once I get on those courts, I'd probably say about 5 to 7 cases a month you'd be doing. Criminal cases. The caseload can get heavy, and they're all going to be variable, what kind of cases you do. One day you might be dealing with somebody trying killing somebody. Another day you might be dealing with some guy who got pulled over for having a pill bottle full of ecstasy. You never know. It's all kinds of things. And you could also do that on the federal level. The federal level pays a little better though too. But anybody else? Go ahead.
This is kind of a practical question, but do you think that there's any advantage in like specializing or trying to network more in a particular county? Because I noticed when working over the summer in Delaware County, a lot of the bar association there is pretty insular, so they only like Delaware County attorneys working in the courthouses. And so when a Philadelphia attorney came into the courthouse, it was a little bit tense. And I was wondering if you had any opinion about that.
Yeah, Delaware County, they like the Junior Bar Association, and they like to collect the fees from you. And they like to make you fill out a lot of paperwork. But at the end of the day, when I got my bar license, it said Pennsylvania. It didn't say Philadelphia County. It said Pennsylvania County. And people, obviously nobody likes other lawyers from other areas going in and poaching your business, but you gotta look at it as, you're a professional, you're in there to do a job. You get on the court appointment list, you go in there, you do your job. Because the judges are gonna look at you and say, sir, I mean, if you were from Philadelphia, if you were from Delaware County, I would have granted that motion. But since, you're not, since you're from bad old North Philadelphia, denied. It doesn't work like that. And once you do a few cases, once you get into there, it's like the first day of law school. Everybody's nervous. It's like, who am I going to sit next to? Like, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? You get in there, you start practicing for a few months. Then it becomes years. They start to recognize you, start to get to know you, and it just becomes like practicing anywhere. I mean, you got to remember, every one of these places is trying to keep their little slice of the pie for their people. But just because they're trying to do it doesn't mean you can't go in there and do it. And at the end of the day, if you file a motion, the district attorney still has to respond to it. If you do anything, they still have to respect it. Because at the end of the day, you're a Pennsylvania bar ID, not any other thing. You're a Pennsylvania ID. You use that to the fullest. Don't be intimidated. You got to take over. You're the lawyer. You're the lead attorney. You walk in there with a confident step. You know what you're talking about. You strut in there. You feel strong. You know you're going to win. They're going to respect you. They're going to treat you that way. If you walk in there like, oh, where am I going? I need help. Like, what do you guys think of this? They're going to treat you that way. It's all about how you present yourself. You walk in your nice suit. You're like, I'm here for Mr. Smith. He is my client. Your Honor, I'm ready to proceed with my case. Once that starts, it's like anybody watches sports, there's a lot of talk before it, sports radio, the TV shows. That doesn't mean anything. Once they get on the field, that's when the game's played. Once you get in the court, once you start negotiating with the DA, they're not going to care where you're from or anything. As long as you're born in Pennsylvania, they're going to want to do what they have to do to win that case. You're going to do what you have to do to win the case. Because you went to Temple, because you got the proper training from a lot of these professors, you're going to be good. Trust me. They're scared, but you're going to be good. And the other thing is, guys, when it comes to, like, I know you guys are all worried, like, oh, I got to take all these classes. Like, this is all going to be stuff on the bar. Like, I got to do all this stuff. Don't worry about it. You can pass the bar without taking the classes that are recommended. You buy the Barbary books, you read them, you'll pass. Trust me. I did it. I never took tax. I never took family law. A bunch of the other kind of classes that you can think of, and I could pass. Because once you pass the first year, you gain the knowledge that you need to succeed. And the knowledge is understanding it. It's looking at a problem, being able to say, wait a minute, I can solve this problem. This isn't the most difficult problem. And you'll be able to teach it to yourself. It's really not hard. Any other questions? All right, well, I want to thank you guys. I'm going to leave the flyers down there. But trust me, this piece of paper is something I wish somebody had taught me in law school, and it's going to be one of the most important pieces of paper that you ever have. Don't lose this. That's why I only made it one sheet, so people don't have to worry about staples or anything else. You take this with you. You may not, what's your name?
Nathan.
Nathan. You're one out, you hold on to this. When you're graduating law school, this will be the piece of paper that gets you a job. Trust me. And one that'll actually put money in your pocket if you have to. So, I want to thank you guys for having me out here today, and I want to thank Mike for inviting me out, and I hope I answered all your questions and gave you a little insight into what it's like to actually be a lawyer every day.